This is the Tropic Pianist Gamers podcast, episode 62. The title of the episode is Wired and Weary, Motherhood, Anxiety, and the Sleep We Are Missing. Today I'm welcoming my special guest, Jade Zammit. Jade, would you like to introduce yourself and say what you do properly?
Hi, I'm Jade. Thank you so much for having me here. I specialise in child sleep from birth all the way up, and I also specialise in child sleep and ADHD.
Awesome. I could have done with you about 8 years ago.
Mm.
So, introductions over. So, background, what led you to that? Obviously, you're a mum yourself, but what did you go through to make that conclusion that you need to help others?
Really good question. So I have two children. My eldest is almost 9. My youngest is coming up 5 now. And with my first, I really struggled into that transition into motherhood and various different parts of postpartum anxieties, and I found it quite tough. So we eventually found quite a good rhythm and routine for him. I started reading all the baby sleep books, and I found the psychology behind sleep fascinating. I loved it. And it just so happened to kind of find our way a little bit with him. We hit all the usual bumps in the road, and then his toddler years were really tough. My eldest, he is so easily stimulated, but really thrives on connection. And I found it hard to find that balance. I never wanted to leave my kids to sort of cry and figure it out. No judgment to anybody else. It's just not what I wanted to do personally. And there was a lot of tears, I think, from me on that side because I just didn't know how to help him. And we got through those sort of tougher toddler years. And then my youngest came along. So by this point, we thought, right, we've nailed it. Second child, we know exactly what we're doing, and we couldn't have been further from the truth. So I think she really wanted to sleep more, but she had so much in her way and severe reflux, and I didn't know how to help her. So we got so far down the line, I was on my knees with exhaustion, and my husband said, I think we need to seek a professional. And that's when I said, actually, no, I want to be the professional. I want to help other families because this is isolating, it's debilitating, and there must be other people going through this as well. So that's what I did. So I trained, qualified, and then started a business, and that was just over 4 years ago now.
See, in 4 years, you must have had quite a few cases to deal with. What has been your most challenging case you've dealt with so far?
That's a really good question because the challenges can come from different places. Now, I work with amazing families. I'm very, very lucky with the incredible people who come my way. I, in terms of challenges with the little ones, I've had, I tend to bring in a lot more emotionally strong kids into my circle, you know, ones who are a bit more strong-willed, but they have actually become my sort of speciality, if you like. But I've had little ones who, will breath hold when they feel frustrated to the point that they faint. And it's how you kind of navigate those bumps in the road. One of my first families I worked with, the little one would wake up and no word of a lie 19 times a night, like just basically didn't sleep. And we got her down to, I think it was one or no wakes within 5 days, without leaving her to cry, without leaving her to sort of figure it out. So that was a really quick transformation, I would say. But I've had some families where the more challenge and the focus needs to really be on the parent because
Mm.
I get mums who were just like I was at rock bottom. Their mental health is at their, they couldn't feel any lower. So trying to work with them and to work on their mindset can be a different challenge in itself.
Definitely, yeah. I think I needed to work on me, but I didn't realize until lockdown, and he was 2.5, and that's when the sleep deprivation finally the cloud lifted. But two and a
Yes,
half years of that was not fun. Could
no,
have done with you about
definitely.
8 years ago.
I wish
So,
I had made 8 years ago.
so you've said about most challenging. Have you got a favourite memory of a case you've worked on?
Oh, I've had so many. There have been some families in particular where you just really click as well. And we have built such a good foundation where there's trust in what I'm telling them. They're really consistent. And so there's been incredible mums along the way. And I think when you're working with people who have the same mum mindset as you, it makes a really nice relationship as well. You've built that trust really easily. Yeah, they're my
So
favorite case.
yeah, so um completely different topic to that now. The mother's mental health. How
Yeah,
would you describe your anxiety in motherhood? Because anxiety manifests in many different ways.
yeah. So personally, no, I didn't really ever class myself as a particularly anxious person. And
Mm.
then my eldest came along. Now, what I didn't realize at the time, had like antenatal anxiety. Like the whole pregnancy, I was a mess. And absolutely, I can't even describe to you how that dark cloud I had no reason to be, but it was so hard through the pregnancy. And then after he was born, I was anxious about everything. And it wasn't just kind of your intrusive thoughts, it was much more sort of postpartum anxiety led. And I've worked with mums who have been through exactly that sort of same journey as well. I had to work really, really hard to rewire my mindset
Yeah,
because even when he slept, I couldn't sleep. And then there was also the anxiety of when's he going to wake again? How long is he going to actually sleep for?
yeah, can relate to that.
Yeah. And so even when they're sleeping, us as parents we're on edge constantly waiting for that next wake up. My husband works away as well, so I was doing it all solo really until he came
Mm.
home. And that first year I found particularly tough in terms of anxiety, um, and with sleep. And I see it a lot in parents as well, where they're very much in that cycle. Because if we're not getting the sleep, that impacts their anxiety levels. We are more irrational, for one. We
Yeah,
can't control our own emotions. We get snippy. Then we go to bed with mum guilt, going, I wish I hadn't snapped at them today. I wish I had more patience, but I'm so tired. And then we can't get to sleep because we've got all of these anxious thoughts and how the days went. And so it becomes one big spiral. And it's a
yeah,
really hard cycle to then get out of when you're so tired. And I always say to parents as well, that snippy, irrational, things that happen throughout our day, they're biologically normal. You have to give yourself some grace in it. We don't like how we react in those moments, but our body is actually doing what it's designed to do, unfortunately, when we are so
yeah.
sleep deprived. And it just becomes one big cycle. And then when we've got that heightened anxiety, we don't really want to be social. We feel
Mm.
like we can't take anything more on our plate. So then we feel even more isolated. That brings more anxiety and it just builds a whole cycle of really tough times.
Yeah, I can relate to a lot of that.
Mhm.
I hit rock bottom because of sleep deprivation, basically. I was on
Yeah.
survival mode for so long that I kind of ran out of survival mode. Um,
Yes.
but obviously I managed to turn that around because sleep deprivation ended. But I also had a period of sleep deprivation last year because my husband started working away. And
Right.
it turned out my kid was afraid that I would abandon him because he felt like his dad had abandoned him. And no matter
Oh,
how much I told him, he wouldn't believe me. So we're still in
yeah.
a patchy bit now, but he shares the bed with me to basically make sure I'm still there. But I've got the
Oh,
problem where I can't escape. I've got to sit next to him in the bed until he falls asleep. So
yeah.
that's the situation we're in at the moment. But I can deal with that as long as he sleeps through the night, because it's the
Yeah.
middle of the night wake ups that nearly killed me, basically. So yeah,
Yes.
sleep
There's
deprivation's
one
got a
thing
lot
waking
to
up
answer
early.
for.
It
Sorry?
does. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was going to say it's one thing waking up early, but if you get a good chunk of sleep and your body's able to kind of get that rest it needs, but it's the frequent wake ups, the disconnected sleep
Yeah.
that our bodies just really struggle to deal with.
Well, when he was newborn, I think the baby wakes up every 3 hours or 4 hours,
Hmm.
and I had to express the other, so every 3 hours or 4 hours, but not the same as him, and that really was not working. Got no
Right.
sleep for about 4 months there.
Oh gosh, it's
So
so
yeah,
hard.
Sleep deprivation, avoid it if you can, but it's not always possible to avoid. And if you can't avoid it, ask for help.
Absolutely.
So you've got 4 years behind you. Where do you see yourself going in the future with your business?
That's a really good question. So I work mostly one-to-one with families, and I've worked with over 200 families one-to-one. I love being able to give that full support. It's the biggest way to get those transformations, to really dive deep into who the little one is and making sure that you get it right. Over the next couple of years, I am looking to more, I have a sleep support membership that I want to scale and bring more people in. It's all about navigating the bumps in the road, building that community, because it can be really isolating when your little one's not sleeping and you're looking at everybody else going, how come their kids sleep? And actually it's really quite common. But if you've got a community and steps to help you build that consistently good sleep back, that is what I'm going to be building up over the next couple of years, and also helping parents coming back into the workplace, so going a little bit more corporate. So, because I've been that parent as well with my first, where I would be driving to work on the commute with the windows down just to try and keep my eyes open, the music blaring just to keep myself awake. And it's so hard. And I think supporting parents on that return to work, mums and dads, because dads are helping a lot with the sleep in the nights and then trying to get to work the next day. And
Yeah.
it's tough. So that's on the radar. But I always have lots of creative plans as to what I want to do. And yeah, and I'm thinking about my own podcast as well by the end of the year. Oh, and I need to write another book.
Oh, have you got a book already then?
Yes, so I released my first book last year. It's called The Sleep Success Method. So I
Ah,
created a framework where when sleep just doesn't feel like it's going to plan, a really simple framework for parents to go, right, okay, where do I need to focus now? So it's not a really lengthy book. I've been there reading all this baby sleep books, and no one's really got the time to read a 400-page baby sleep book. So it is really factored around parents and giving them those tools and informations to really home in on who their little one is, how to find their ideal sleep. I don't do generic sort of sleep schedules. It's not my thing, but how you can start to find out exactly what your little one needs and where you need to focus at a particular time, and really, yeah. So now I want to do a toddler one, then I want to do an ADHD one. So,
so what's your next book going to be about?
so it's going to have a similar framework, but it's more focused on toddlers, because at the moment the book that I've released is up to toddler years, so it's more from young
Yeah.
babies to toddlers. And so I'm going to release a toddler sequel to that, and then I want to really home in on child sleep and teens with ADHD.
Cool. Yeah, neurodivergence is a big topic at the moment. I know my kid is ADHD, autistic, and dyspraxic, so he's got a
Okay.
good combo there. Keeps us on
Yeah,
our toes for sure. But you
I
mentioned the dad's
understand.
playing a part as well, and that's something we don't often cover. So me and my husband did 50-50 as a team all the
Yeah,
way through. But it was the kind of the roommate phase, effectively. We were living
yeah,
like roommates, and we nearly kind of went our separate ways because of that.
yeah,
But it was important to recognise that that's actually quite a common thing amongst couples while they navigate survival mode.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's for the majority of families I work with, it's nice when both parents are there and they've got the same aligned goals. And quite often it's that partner does want to help, but there's a bit of a parent preference with the little one. So when you've got that split, and I'm always a big advocate for, having both parents involved so that it's not so one-sided. So that's one of the biggest goals I often work with families, is to make sure they've got an aligned approach between them. But it's easy to fall into that trap, if you like, of that roommate scenario. You're just in survival mode. One, you're both shattered, so you're both snipping at each other, and then it becomes a competition of, well, I got 3 hours sleep last night, well, I only got two
Yeah.
hours sleep, right? And it can be exceptionally tough. And I think the best thing is to make sure that you are both in alignment with what the end goal is. I work with a lot of families where it might be mum's been co-sleeping, dad's sleeping on the sofa. The goal is that dad gets back into bed, and we start to build up those goals again. So, but it takes teamwork. And
Yeah.
my husband and I, as much as he worked away, so it was just me. It was just me, regardless if I had work the next day or not. It was only me here. But when he came back, we had a different kind of setup, obviously, compared to a
Mm.
lot of families. But he would be able to help that 50-50 split when he came back, which was a lifesaver.
Yeah. I can imagine. But yeah, it's important to note for anyone who is in that roommate stage, it isn't forever. You do come out the other
Yeah,
side. It's not a good time to decide whether to split up or not. Try and work through
definitely.
it. There is
Don't
a light at the end of the tunnel, as I always say. So I did find
uh,
it eventually. It was 2020 and lockdown, ironically, but there was a light at the end of the tunnel. So
yes, never make big decisions on sleep deprivation.
yeah, always ask for help if you're desperate as well. That's one thing I wasn't very good at was asking for help, but now I know ask for help and you'll get somewhere rather than staying stuck forever. Okay.
Absolutely.
So if anyone would like to tap into your services and work with you, where's the best place they can find you?
Okay, so you can catch me on socials at Jade Zammit Sleep Coaching, or you can hit the website, which is beyondthestars.co.uk. Everything I do is on there, from the book to services to courses, and you can find out much more about me there. So you can come and follow me on the socials, come into my community groups, and you can find me on the website.
Awesome. I've got one more question for you. Where did
Oh,
Beyond the Stars come from? I love that name.
good question. So my son, my eldest, he is a big sea life fan. So his favorite movie when he was even really young was Finding Nemo. Now, the theme tune at the end of the movie is the Robbie Williams version of Beyond the Sea.
Ah,
Mhm. So when I was trying to think of names, like he never liked typical lullabies or anything like that. So I would sing him Beyond the Sea at bedtime. That was how I got him to sleep. And that was
hmm.
his favorite song. And I wanted to have a name that was almost sort of like kind of reaching for the stars or reaching beyond. So that's where Beyond the Stars came from. I kind of just amalgamated it all together.
Oh, that's
So
sweet. Very creative as well. Love creative. Okay.
yeah.
So thanks for being a guest today. I hope you enjoyed our conversation
I have. Thank you so much. This has been great.
and all the best for your future.
Thank you. Speak soon.
Bye.